Hey everybody, Mr. Childers here. I recently got some new camera equipment, and so I'm running some tests to see where I should put it in the room, how it's going to work with visual aids projected on my wall, what to do with the lighting, the sound, all that good stuff. And I figured if I'm going to be running this test anyway, I might as well produce something that might be beneficial to the 4 or 5 of you who may actually see this. So I want to talk for a few minutes and share with you some tips for going back to school on campus. If that's the choice you and your families have made, then we look forward to seeing you on August 24th. I want to share some tips on how to make this as good an experience for you as possible. All right. Let me hit the lights here. One of the things I'm figuring out is this lighting situation, because I have this beautiful projector, but the room has to be dark. So I want to see how ridiculous it looks when I lecture in the dark. All right? On-campus back-to-school tips for August 24th. Now, these are just things that I have thought of, which means if the teachers you have this year tell you something different, if the administration tells you something different that cancels this out, then you can safely ignore me, which is never a bad idea. First tip, you want to have your own pen and paper. I was the kind of guy who bought a notebook and a couple of pencils first day of kindergarten and then never again, and survived all through school by borrowing pens, borrowing pencils, borrowing crayons, borrowing glue to eat. That's not going to work for you this year. I don't know for certain that we will be forbidden to hand out paper or pencils, or that you'll be forbidden to borrow them from one another. But seriously, the whole point of this crazy social distancing and pandemic and quarantine and all that is to cut down the spread of germs. And in that situation, it's not going to be a good idea to say, hey, you over there, take your hands that you just picked your nose with and hand me a pen. All right? You want to stock up, so even if you're normally the way I was and you never have your own, this is the year to hit Walmart and get you some pencils and get you some paper. For my own students, if I'm allowed to, I will try to have some, but the chances are that if I loan you a pencil, I have to give you a pencil, which means I don't get it back, which means I run out. And unless I want to just sign my paycheck over to Office Max every week to buy y'all or y'all's younger contemporaries supplies, it's going to be a good idea to bring your own. You also want to have your own Kleenex. Those little packs, carry it with you in your pocket or in your purse. I don't know, again, it may be that I'm not allowed, that we're not allowed to put out Kleenex for you, but even if I am, I don't have a problem putting out a box of Kleenex. But think about this. Somebody sneezes all over their hands, and they go to get a Kleenex out of the box with those nasty sneeze hands, and they get it, and they've touched the box, and they've touched the one underneath it, and before you know it, it's the Black Plague, okay? If the goal here is to prevent the spread of germs, one simple way you can do that is to have your own Kleenex. Bring extra masks. Keep a couple in your pocket, keep a couple in your book bag, keep a couple in your purse. Why extra masks? The big reason is, once again, sneeze related. I got my mask on, I let out a big sneeze, and yeah, the temptation is going to be take the mask off to sneeze, but that would be dumb. Sneezes are the biggest culprit here. So you're going to find yourself sneezing into your mask, and now having a mask full of nasty sneeze stuff on your face. So you want to be able to pull it off, dispose of it, put on a clean one. And look, even if you don't sneeze, who wants to walk around breathing in mouth all day? All right? Just spend all day smelling my own mouth. That's not the most fun. at least with a few masks to switch out. I've got a whole bag of them here. With a few masks to switch out, you can freshen up and go easy on your nose every once in a while. Another tip, but I don't know if you'll be able to do this, so listen to me carefully when I say, I don't know if you'll be allowed to chew gum or have cough drops on campus. I don't know what the rule will be about that. If you are allowed to chew gum, when I put a mask on, I always stick some mint gum or a mint or menthol cough drop in my mouth to cut back, because even clean mouth still smells like mouth, and that's no fun. All right? Hopefully, well, I don't know. Maybe you won't be allowed to do that, but if you are, that's a good call. Don't do fruit gum. That smell gets nasty after a while. This is one of the big ones. Speaking about smells, I was walking around Walmart the other day with my mask on, just getting some essentials, and of course, had to burp. Masks were not designed with the human burp in mind. Okay, so now I'm just inhaling my own burp, which I'm not afraid to admit is not a good smell. Learn to burp out of your eyes. That may be difficult at first because it is impossible and cannot be done, but if you can do it, it will make your life a lot easier. This is the big one. More important than bringing extra masks, more important than bringing your own pen, pencil, bring patience with you. This scenario that we're walking into in a few weeks, where all in the same class, some of us are there every day, some of us are there a couple days a week, some of us are working from home. You've never done anything like that before, and neither have we. No matter how well my fellow teachers and I try to prepare for this, it's something brand new for everybody. And nobody can be 100% sure what it's going to look like. All of these ideas we have never been tried before. We're all doing this as a new experience. So please, I ask that you be patient with us, with the people who teach you, and you can expect, you have the right, you are entitled to be treated with patience by us. Bring your patience with you. This dude here is exercising wisdom. I want you to bring your wisdom with you. Those of you who had my class all year, this previous year, and that's got to be the only people who would possibly even be watching this, we talked a lot about wisdom. And one of the things that I told you about wisdom is like a little voice in the back of your head whispering to you, you could be wrong. This is a confusing time. We get hit from all directions with all sorts of information about this pandemic, about the virus, about what works, what doesn't work, about what's right to do, what's wrong to do. And it can be confusing because this is a new disease, and the way science works is by trial and error. So even the experts, what they think works today, they may figure out tomorrow that they were wrong. Couple that with the fact that a lot of information coming out there is making people very skeptical. You may have opinions that are different from the mainstream opinions. You and your family may have heard and may think things like the virus is a hoax, the virus is exaggerated, masks don't work, quarantine and masks is trying to take away your freedoms. You've got the right to have those opinions in a free country. But what I ask you to do is listen to that voice in your mind, that voice of wisdom that says, but you might be wrong. You can have your opinions. Believe whatever you think the evidence has led you to believe. None of that means, let's say you think it's a hoax. Let's say you think masks don't work. Let's say you think this is just the government trying to flex its authority and take your rights away and all that stuff. Let's say you think all of that. None of that reasonably leads to the conclusion that the wise choice is to be less cautious. If I see some meme that tells me that masks cause brain cancer, well, maybe I believe that meme. But am I so sure? Am I so sure that the memes that agree with me are right and the memes that agree with them are wrong? Sure enough to risk the health and safety of the people around us? Because this virus could be a real threat, even to people of your age, and sometimes to people of my age, and definitely to those teachers and administrators who are substantially older than me. Yes, there are people in this world older even than me. So listen to that voice of wisdom, even if you don't like any of this mask stuff, the voice of wisdom that says, but you might be wrong, and still choose to do the cautious, safe, responsible, respectful thing while you are on campus. Maybe you feel exactly the opposite. Maybe you're very nervous about coming back to school. There are many people who have strong opinions. Yes, we need to open schools. Others say no, we should not open schools in this pandemic. All right? Lots of teachers have strong opinions on this. I have a very strong opinion on this. And if you're curious what my personal opinion is, ask me right after you graduate and I'll be happy to tell you. In the meantime, if you're upset about schools opening back up, please remember that those decisions were not made by anyone on our campus. Okay? Those decisions came from the state, from Governor Ron DeSantis, who can be emailed by any member of a free country at governorron.desantis@eog.myflorida.com, and Commissioner of Education Richard Corcoran, who can be emailed, even by teenagers, at commissioner@fldoe.org. Those two gentlemen are the decision makers. They determined that it was best for us to return to school on campus, and so that is what we're going to do. Regardless of what anyone's opinion is about coming back, I am excited to see you. Even if I'm only seeing you, from the top half of your nose up. Hopefully those tips will be somewhat helpful to you. Hopefully this video will help me figure out lighting and placement and what these things look like when I put them on YouTube. Thanks for your time, and I will see you August 24th.